Wanna be loved by you, and nobody else but you. Boop boop be doo. Um, I don't know why I wanted to shoot a video now. It seems like it doesn't make a lot of sense, and I don't know. It's weird. I'm back. I've got my feet up. I'm back in bed. Um, I'm now on water pills and naproxen and opiates and still Loratabs and such with pain. And God, it was a fabulous experience. I think I just let way too much blood vibration in the car go into my feet, and my feet bloated heavily, and my vascular system in my feet is apparently really poor now, and will be. And so I pushed it to a limit, beyond a limit, and but anyway, God, the way Boo Nate and and wife came out of the woodwork, the way Matt came out of the woodwork, the way strangers came out of the woodwork, um, and helped out was really great. It was really great. It was wonderful to be around people in kind of a lively way, and a good reminder of what that location has done to me in terms of my zest, my overall spirit, my sprite of life, I guess. And yeah, um, and there was a hitchhiker that got in the car on the way back, and that was really interesting. And then stopped in the canyons, Canyonlands, and stayed with a friend again, and that was funky cool. Don't know what to say about it. Good times, but 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 funky. Kind of like a cube made out of like a kneadable eraser cube rolling around. I kind of felt that way. And I don't know. When am I recording this? Where am I recording this? Yeah, I couldn't help it. I was watching, Divinity, and then Divinity referenced some other new channel to me. Somebody from back east, really heavy accent, really opinionated. That kind of that kind of barking, let me fucking tell you the way it is, like, and then they lay down their logic lines, and then they draw the line, and then they kind of like, you know, dare someone to walk over the line, metaphorically, and then if you do and you don't, it's kind of like Gary in his, like, I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. I was watching Gary's video on some new channel, and he says, I only insult people. He's trying to bullshit people into saying he only insults people if either you're a complete dumbass and a pedophile, then he'll insult you in the first place. Otherwise, you would have had to do it first. Well, I guess I'm the exception to that, because he got on, and I was nothing but polite to him, and then he got on and tore apart my video. I had privatized my video, but he had just tore me apart verbally, and then I made some comment to him like, Gary, you're a complete dipshit. But by complete, I don't mean all of you. I just mean the part of you that's not, retarded. And at that point, he ended up blocking me, and then we talked, and he said he was going to unblock me, and then he didn't. And well, I mean, I'm like, I don't care. Like, one part of this trip was so great, is it was just kind of this detachment, because so much of my thoughts on everything have to do with, I'm online so much, because I've been in bed so long, and I'm bonding with characters in, I think, a really unnatural way. And people that I used to connect to on here, apparently they still watch my videos. And that's, that's good. They don't comment much, probably because they're not into the whole gig, whatever I'm into. Anyway, so I'm watching like the back and forth with Piro and Fred, and Dana Garrett jumps in, and I like Dana Garrett's response, I have to admit, about the community and knowledge, and I thought, oh well, To Be Serious would jump on that bandwagon as well in terms of the community knowledge relative to solipsism. And I had once mentioned something like this idea of solipsism squared, and by that I meant after you accept the paradigm of the community being the definition for which one is able to define, senses or descriptive senses of self. After you already give yourself over to that vantage point, there's still that kind of internality of the point, which is almost as if you take the metaphor of I'm in a big video game and everybody else is kind of programmed. So you grant them all aspects of humanism outwardly, to in and of their own right, this agency idea. But at the same time, it's still almost with this quirky, otherworldly sensation, like it's all like they're all just characters in a movie in like a Grand Truman Show, right? And then when one takes this, what I'll say is like an ontology squared, and I just say squared because I'm like, whatever you consider the limits of descriptive ontology, to take it out even further, right, into this point of like an otherly ultra intelligence that is outward and beyond what it is you could consider wrapping your mind around, and that somehow this otherly intelligence maneuvers these people like characters and insists upon coincidences in your psychology, and the sort. And somehow there was this contraction in mind from like okay, solipsism squared down to just regular solipsism, down to like Piro's agency, the self-descriptive model, down to my notions of not having an internal monologue except for glimpses of symbolism, or glimpses, passing tumbleweeds of words, trying to think about what it is my relationship is to things, and then listening to these feeling dialogues, and just kind of wondering, shaking my head about, what is all this about? What is all this about? Anyway, and so Fred gets on this latest rant on feeling, and he's talking about you, right? He's using the phrase you and we, and he's trying to, describe otherly. He's taking a phenomenological description when he's using the word you and us and we, and he's trying to kind of lay down this truism, right? These truistic, I like the word demarcations, or like logos paradigms. I mean, how else do you get a paradigm other than a logos paradigm? But when he was saying, like, he said something like our somatic sensory system and our feelings are in lockstep with one another. And right then I was like, I just disagree. I just outwardly disagree. I just sat there and I thought, how is it I'm in screaming pain, like my feet are on fire, almost like, I don't know, 22 hours a day, roughly, I would say, and yet I'm still happy within that pain, or I'm angry within that pain. Like, if it was so lockstep, then you would think it would be the case that I couldn't be anything other than completely agonizing and whining, and yet my relationship to my body is so, I've separated so many aspects about feeling pain and having an attitude about the feeling the pain, the expression of it, and so, and then I'm just kind of upset that there's this descriptive attempt at trying to say what is the case, right? Like I even got in an argument with my doctor, my pain doctor, just recently, because I said the pills are supposedly take about 40 minutes to kick in. I said, but it seems like around 20 minutes there's this spike in pain, like the pain increases. He says, well, I don't think your pharmacology is any different than other people. He says it's probably that you're anticipating the pain to go away, and in that anticipation you focus on it and it increases. And I thought, okay, let me think about that. But then I had popped pills, and my mind seemed as if it was somewhere else altogether, and then I recognized a spike in pain again. And I talked to other people, and they agree with me, like, yeah, I experienced that same thing. And I sat there and I thought, well, here's a doctor, somebody that is taking supposedly objective information, kind of the way Conference Report was trying to lay it down, script it. And some, things that I'm categorically against this kind of talk. Like, I hear it, but to me, this is the biggest parasite that exists in the educational institution, and quite frankly, in the world, I think, is the way people try to state what is the case. And so I've been lingering on that. But anyway, so I only have a few more minutes to ramble here. Now I've been really thinking, kind of like now I'm noticing Fred also name dropping, where did I get this quote from? And, it's like, which Logos paradigm do we want to use? And is it parenthetical, right? Does it have a gravity to it such that you either feel like you're within it and internal to it, or you're outside of it, outside of the parenthetical, and you're external to what's being described? Kind of reminds me of that New York accent of this woman, or that Eastern accent again, and just kind of that kind of Eastern attitude that comes along with it, which is so much different than the West Coast attitude here in the States. But anyway, so there's this idea of authorial roots, sourcing all words to authorities, whoever generated that strip of logos. And I was thinking about the word button looking, or the phrase button looking, because I had typed that. And I thought, how many times or how often does the phrase button looking come up? And I guess I could Google it and see what shows up in the current modern archives, even though I can't find Anglo-Judic anywhere next to Anglo-Saxon when I do a search. And I found that in books prior to Google. But anyway, my whole point is that I don't think that authors source by necessity our thoughts. I don't think our thoughts are all sourced back to particular authors. I think it's a spread, and it is a multitude. It is a multitude of multi-generational communities, and a great deal of thoughts are orally conveyed, and then they're synthesized in our minds before they're distributed. And I think that people walking side by side who bump into similar situations come up with the same actual words when they're speaking a common language. They come up with the same words or phrases, maybe because they know the other person, how the other person so well, so intimately, that they know what they would say. But people say things at the same time, and it's not even a rehearsed or joking atmosphere. And I would say, well, that's obviously evidenced as not being a source of a single author. So this notion that our thoughts are by necessity sourced is awful. And then the adherence to authors as evidence of source, I think, is just like it's kind of a panic attack. And I really think that younger people probably look at us older people, the seasoned ones, and say, shrug their shoulders with a kind of, what the fuck? A serious, what the fuck is going on? Like, why? What's happened to these guys? Are they really that way? Is that really the zest of their life? That's really how they interact with their reality? That's really what they have come to believe and condone and sit within? And I don't know. And then I was just thinking about love. And I was thinking about my old Boo Bear, and thinking about missing people from my past, and thinking about healing. how much I want to heal and get better and play, and anyway.